Hello and welcome to Cooking for Candlelight. I'm Jay Wenko and welcome back again to Studio G here at Community Media Network's Back Production Studio. We're here into our third program and I'm happy to have you join us once again. We've got a full slate ahead of us, so I'm not going to waste any time. I don't even know if I'll have enough time to finish it all, but that's the objective, so I'm going to start off right away. Our meal today is, once again, in the elegant yet casual methodology of cooking. What do I mean by that? We want to make something that looks good, tastes good, appears right on a plate, is suitable to present and serve to a friend, a special friend who's dining with you, but we don't want to take all day and night cooking it or preparing it. We don't want to fuss, but it's a sneaky way of doing something really nice. So let's see if it's successful here today. We've got about 30 minutes to do it. Today's meal is going to be chicken marsala. Chicken marsala will be the main course, real nice meal, and then we'll have along with that a vegetable of grilled herb-seasoned zucchini and summer squash, and we'll also present it with some couscous, a Middle Eastern staple. So we'll start out by talking about the chicken. I spent quite a bit of time last night, and this is where it kind of deviates from what I said about not taking very long. I boned this chicken. This is chicken legs and thighs. Last time in the last program we used chicken breasts. I have to tell you, chicken breasts are a lot easier to bone than thighs or leg quarters. These take a little bit more time. They're stringier. They're a little bit more messy, but they provide a different flavor. They're a little bit juicier, and we're going to use these in the marsala recipe today. What we're going to first do is start off by coating these chicken pieces with basically a flour mixture. The flour mixture is just some flour. I've mixed in another ingredient, which is this bacon miracle. It's just a flavored coating. I'll put a little bit more in there just to give you an idea of what we're doing. And then I'm going to put in some white pepper. And what we'll do basically is coat this chicken. Now that looks like a lot, but let me tell you, when you mix in seasonings with your flour, to be honest, you don't taste it as much as you think. I mean, I may have put in about a teaspoon of white pepper there, but in actuality, it's when it mixes in with the flour and finally that which ends up on the chicken, it's not going to really hit home too hard. We'll get the frying pan going on this, and we'll start taking some of these nice chicken pieces in here and drop them right into the flour. Stir it around, get them nice and coated. I'll throw a few more pieces in there, take a couple of nicer, larger pieces, and we'll get the oil going. Notice, one thing you got to be careful about with chicken is this cross-contamination. Whenever you're cooking, be careful about what you're touching and where you've put your hands last. I just picked up this olive oil. I'll just wipe it off. But since I was touching raw chicken, it's important to clean yourself off before you start putting your hands on other things that may eventually get into your mouth uncooked. You want to be careful about that, and that's how a lot of these stories about salmonella poisoning in restaurants occur. It's a cross-contamination issue. You touch something raw, you go and you touch a salad in the salad bin back in the kitchen. It ends up in someone's mouth, and it's a bad scenario. You don't want that to happen. Anyways, I've got a couple of these pieces of chicken coated with flour. I'll wait until the oil starts heating up pretty well in this pan. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll take a little butter. I like to mix up my olive oil with a pat of butter every once in a while. It kind of adds just an enhanced flavor to it. And also, as opposed to just putting butter or just putting oil, if I just put butter, tendency for butter is it can burn. If you heat it too hot, it can often burn. But the oil that I'd use here will bring its flash point up higher because olive oil has a higher flash point. What do I mean by flash point? It's really the heat at which your heating oil or butter would turn to fire, would actually ignite. We're not going to do that today. Maybe that's another show. I was considering a flambe, but last minute decision, decided not to. So I'll get this frying pan up good and hot. I've got this other pot lined up here. This is for our couscous, and I'll get that boiling up pretty good now too. Couscous is easy to make. I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a moment or two. After we've sauteed the chicken up, what will happen is we'll put that aside. We'll deglaze the pan. That means take the flavorings and the residual food content that's in the pan, and we'll actually add some liquids to it to melt it off the pan and form a sauce, which will be our marsala content. We'll use marsala wine, of course. No surprise there. What we've got in addition to that would be some of the zucchini and the summer squash. I've taken some of these beautiful, really young zucchinis, and I've already taken the summer squash and I've cut them into wedges or diagonal slices so that they have a fair amount of surface area to be appropriate for a grill. And I'll do the same thing right now to the zucchinis while that pan is still heating up. Just go ahead and get a few of these lined up. I'll do a couple at a time. Basically, you just take your zucchini and you're going to end up losing the first slice. The first slice will just move aside. It'll be a little too chunky. But after that, you've got nice diagonal pieces that in similar thickness will provide a fair amount of surface area for the seasoning, for the oil that we'll put on it. And it'll allow a nice grill pattern to appear on the pieces of the zucchini on this nice smokeless grill that Jerry Kunith has provided to us once again. I want to thank our crew that's appeared today, Davey O'Bear on camera 3, Erica Lynn on camera 2, and Jerry Williams on camera 1, and once again on the Sky Cam, Keith Hillock from CMN. We will looks like it's about time we could put this chicken in the frying pan. That's getting nice and hot. When a frying pan gets hot enough, it usually looks like it's the quietest. What I mean by that is if you've got margarine or butter in there and it's bubbling, it hasn't quite made it. But if it's quieted down and things have just stopped bubbling to a point, then it's hot enough. And you can go ahead and put your meat, or chicken in this case, right in there. And it's just about at that point. I remember the first show that we had here using this trusty fry pan. Didn't quite get hot enough, fast enough. Hopefully won't be the case today because we don't have that much time to spare. But wouldn't that be great if we could put together a show, a nice meal, a chicken marsala, real nice meal. As by most accounts, anybody talks about chicken marsala, they're saying, "Wow, that's a nice meal in a restaurant," and it is. It's something you don't typically make for yourself, but I'm going to show you that it very well could be. If I can do it in a half hour, it means you could probably do a lot of preparation at home. Come take your 1 hour lunch break and impress the people back at work by saying, "Hey, I just went home and cooked chicken marsala for lunch." Why not? Why not? I think that's going to be good enough. It won't be enough to feed our crew here. I'll cook for them later. But it'll be good enough to cook for our lunch or your dinner on our plate here right now today. Looks like our grill, our smokeless grill, is getting heated up. So what I'll do is I'll move right into the zucchini. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. Kind of a sneaky trick again. Olive oil. I'll be fairly generous with that. And a little secret here is the Good Seasonings salad dressing in an envelope. You've seen these, probably used them before. What I'll do is I'll basically give up the salad for the day and turn it into a coating for this zucchini. To be honest with you, I've never done this. I've never taken Good Seasoning dressing and mixed it on zucchini before. I didn't even know what it looked like. But I have a feeling that since I've used it for salad, or other variations of it for my salad, I had a feeling it would stick to this if I threw some olive oil on it, and it probably would taste pretty good on this. So it looks good, smells good. Okay, things are all happening at once here. We've got the zucchini and the summer squash. I'll mix these in here too now. Throw a little more olive oil on that. I hear our water is boiling for the couscous, which is a real simple item to make. Couscous it's easier than rice. All you have to do with couscous is put it in the boiling water, which will have a little olive oil in it, and let it sit for about 5 minutes after you've done that, and it's done. Right now, why don't I just go ahead and put this zucchini squash and summer squash on the grill, and we'll see how we do with that. The reason I chose zucchini and summer squash was really a couple of reasons. One was that it was fairly priced. The season is coming upon us now. I don't think these are native, but they're appearing more readily at the supermarket. And the price was right, and they're colorful. That's really the most important thing. I was thinking, what looks nice with this dish? As you've seen, if you've seen me before, you know that I like a meal that tastes good as much as I like one that appears beautiful on a plate. So, with the green and yellow of this zucchini and the summer squash next to the tan of the chicken marsala and the other ingredients, it should look nice. So, we'll get those going. I'll turn them down a little bit. And let's move into, let's see how our chicken is doing. It's doing okay. I'd like it to move along a little faster, but we can work with that. Let's go ahead and put the couscous. Couscous, I've got two different kinds. Is that a problem? I don't think so. I've got one called herbed chicken flavor. The other one is a roasted garlic and olive oil. I'm not going to stress out by the fact that they didn't have a second garlic and olive oil or herb chicken. I forget which one I bought one a week ago. I bought the other one last night, and I didn't know which one I had on the shelf. But it's not going to matter. It's going to taste good mixed together. They have identical directions for the quantity of water that you mix it with. It'll just be a blend of flavors. I'm making a double batch here because we've got a few extra bodies to feed here, namely the crew. How else am I going to get them here? Of course, if they don't like the food, I won't have a crew after this. That hasn't happened yet, fortunately. Okay, the box says, in a medium saucepan, combine 1 1/4 cup of water for each batch. I've got 2 1/2 in there, and a little bit of olive oil, a tablespoon or two. I'll put in a few. Add the couscous, bring to a boil, and cover and let it stand for 5 minutes. This will be done far ahead of time, I'll tell you that. But we'll have it sitting and waiting for us. Okay. Oh, the seasoning packets, that would help. I suppose plain couscous is also eaten in the Middle East. But it's not what I was thinking about today. Okay. If any of this looks interesting to you, I would encourage you to consider taking a television production class here at CMN. We offer a 6-week or 8-week course taught by our 4th camera operator, Keith Hillock. He'll teach you how to use the cameras here in the studio, how to take them out on your own, how to make productions. We also teach in continued education, editing, special effects, graphics, things like that. All of this is, at the moment, it's free, and you can find out how to do it by calling us here at the office at 248-589-7778. You can ask for either me, Jay Wenko, Keith Hillock, Marlo Ellis, or Greg Koss, or even Mike Kopmeyer. He's the van coordinator, not with us today. And we'll hook you up. We've got classes that operate just about every month. And you could be doing your own cooking show, or show about whatever you think is important or entertaining. All right. I'm going to swap burners here because I think this one's a little hotter. And in the meantime, I'll just take the couscous off because that can just sit. Why don't we take a little break right now? We'll come back in just a few moments and continue on with our meal. That's a good idea. I think it is, and I'll get everything together here. So far, we're on schedule, so I think we're going to be eating within the 30 minutes. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This bean contains a nutrient vital to the birth of a healthy baby. It's called folic acid, and it's found in beans, green leafy vegetables, fruits, and vitamin pills. Without folic acid, your baby could be born with life-threatening birth defects. That's why the March of Dimes says that before you get pregnant, you need folic acid in your diet every day. So if you don't think this can make a difference in the health of your baby, you don't know beans. Preventing birth defects starts before you're pregnant. Get the facts. Call the March of Dimes.
Welcome again back to Cooking for Candlelight. I'm Jay Wenko. We're in the second half of the show. Our chicken is now cooking along very well on burner number 1 as opposed to 2. Why don't we move into getting some of the things ready for the sauce, the Marsala sauce that will be the essential element. And right over here in this bowl, got a few things that we can present. One is a couple of ingredients that I wasn't really told to use, but I decided on my own to go ahead and try. Parsley, which really is a fine place for just about any meal. You can find a place for parsley. We'll use it in 2 different ways today. We'll use it chopped up as a part of the Marsala sauce, and we'll also use it as a garnish later, which everybody knows about. Why don't I go ahead and just prepare this right now. What we'll do is take up the parsley, and you can just basically take everything from the stalks above, bunch it up, get it out nice and tight like this. And you can use your fingers to bunch it up nice and neat and just start cutting it up and crisscross cutting. Make it fine. We got a nice, inexpensive yet useful knife. Nothing fancy here. I do have some nice knives at home. But to tell you the truth, I usually grab this one. And this is one of those $10.99 knife sets. And it works just fine. Our chicken is coming along. Boy, I hope you can hear it. You know things are moving along when you hear that frying pan sizzle. This is organically grown parsley. Once again, I picked this up from the Merchant of Vino, or the Whole Foods Company over at Market on 15 Mile here in Troy. They also provided me with some great wine advice for the meal. Once again, from their manager of wine purchasing and wine consultant, Putnam Weekly. Well, this parsley's pretty well minced. Let me just turn the chicken. There we go. It's nice and brown. We'll flip the other side and get that side brown. And you do want to cook it through. We're not just browning, we're actually cooking this chicken through. Now that I've got the parsley, I'll just move that aside. And let's go to the second thing I was thinking about, which was an onion. I've got a half a Vidalia onion that I used the first half over the weekend. And I think I'll just use maybe a quarter of one for what I'm about to do here today. And that is, I'll try to mince it up into small pieces that really aren't too noticeable. And because I'm no super expert at doing that, what I did was I brought along a new toy here today. It's called the Chopster, made by Toastmaster. My dad gave it to me. We'll see how it works. I've never used it before. See, you get a lot of first-time premieres here on the show. First-time premieres, that's redundant. Anyway, first time for the Chopster. We'll see how well it takes care of these onions. Not bad. I'm going to let it run for a while. Yeah, it's pretty good. Not bad at all. I'll end up using this minced onion in the sauce, the Marsala sauce, along with the parsley, some mushrooms, which I'll put in the pan after you take the chicken out, and one other thing that I wanted to do, which would be kind of a nice addition, would be to throw a little color into the couscous. Couscous is kind of gray, or it's kind of tan. There's not a whole lot of color to it, so I did pick up a red pepper, one of these treasures. I'll tell you what, red peppers aren't exactly cheap these days. But this is a good one. If I'm going to pay, well, I don't know, $3 a pound for a red pepper, I'm going to make it a good one. And the merchants there did have a good selection of red peppers. So I'll just take a small piece of one And I'll end up cutting it as small as I can, really, which, again, like I said, I'm no speed demon when it comes to this. But I want to just add a few bits of color to the couscous. And what sets it off? Yeah, a nice red color would be beautiful. And I'll just add these into the couscous, stir it in right before we serve it. No need to cook the peppers. They lose a lot of their body. They get mushy. The skin falls off. It's not what I want. I just want some color in there. And if you're not a pepper fan, well, you can pass on it. Your choice. You're the cook. You make the call. How's this chicken doing here? How do you know if the chicken's done? Best and really only way to do it is to cut into it. It's not hard to overcook chicken, although with legs you have it's a little bit more forgiving with legs because the legs have a lot of fat marbled into it, so it's juicier. You can cook it a little longer and not worry so much about it drying out as you would with a breast. A breast would be a different story. You really want to be careful. And here's a little tip. Whether you're cooking meat on a grill or if you're cooking chicken, the thinner the piece of meat, the less fat, the faster you should cook it. Why people don't like liver so much? Why? Because they cook the daylights out of it. They kill it. And you don't have to do that. If you cook it fast and at a high heat, and you keep the piece thin, you sear in the juices and it stays juicy. Most people just annihilate liver because they cook it so long it's got nothing left in it. It's a piece of shoe leather when it's done. Okay, let's take a look at some of these squash pieces here. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. And really these pieces could have been done a long time ago if I'd kept the heat turned up. But I wanted to time things out, so I turned it down. Not the best idea, to tell you the truth. You don't want to overcook these. You want to cook these pretty quick too. I just contradicted myself, right? Thin pieces, cook them fast. Obviously the squash is not going to run out of juice, but I didn't want them to get limp either. So I would have normally cooked these a little faster, taken the grill marks and put them right on the plate, even a little bit underdone. But so far they look good. Okay, chicken set aside. Let's get right into deglazing the sauce. What am I going to do? Okay, add a little bit of water. And with the water, I'm going to add a little chicken soup mix. It's actually a gravy mix. It's a soup base. It's a sauce base. And it's always in my refrigerator because it's so versatile. Take a couple of teaspoons. I'll just use a tablespoonful. I'll throw that in there. Get the heat going on this a little bit. What else? We've already got the juices from the chicken. That's what I said about deglazing. It's going to actually take the flavor from that pan, and it's going to melt it right in with the other ingredients that I'll add to this. I'll put in some of this onion. That's probably enough. That's about a quarter cup of onion. What else here? I might throw a little seasoning salt in there. Just a dash or a shake or two. Here we go again on this burner number 2. I think I'm going to go back to burner number 1. Mushrooms. I don't think I'll use all that many mushrooms. I've got these. They're already sliced. Maybe a little big, but I can work with that. And while this sauce is deglazing, or the Marsala sauce, which is essential, by the way, Marsala wine, that's the important part with the Marsala chicken, or chicken Marsala, is you take the Marsala wine and, of course, add this in here. I'll say about half a cup. And lemon juice. We'll take a lemon. I'll take roughly a half a lemon. Take out the seeds that I see right here. Take a good squeeze of that lemon. Add it right into there. Things are shaping up pretty good, folks. I think we're coming down the home stretch. Why don't we take a break right now, and we'll be back to serve the meal in just a moment or two. Stay with us. Welcome back. Finale, the meal is just about ready to be served. I think we've got 3.5 minutes left. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and place the chicken, which we browned and cooked, on the plate, which has already been prepared with a real pretty assortment of grilled zucchini and couscous. And of course, where would chicken marsala be without the marsala sauce? And that we've prepared. I've added the parsley, which I mentioned. And we'll go ahead and, where did my big serving spoon go? Oh well, we'll do it this way. Add a little bit there. Bring the rest over here. Very nice. It's a beautiful sauce. I wish you could share it with me. If you've paid attention, no reason you can't go home and, or you're home now, I presume. No reason that you can't cook it tomorrow. Very simple. Hope you catch the ingredients that we listed on the program during the intermission. If for some reason you missed it and you'd like to catch it, you can call me here at the office at 248-589-7778 here at CMN, Community Media Network. Our wine for this evening is suggested by, like I said, Putnam Weekly from the Merchant of Vino in Troy. He suggests this Italian wine, which is called Vin Giacondo. It's a common table wine, but it's a little less common than usual because it has certain degrees of the appropriate acidity, which would work well with a rich meal like this. The richness being, of course, provided by the marsala, the chicken marsala, and yet it retains some lingering sweetness that works well as well with the what was I saying? With the sharpness, I guess, of the seasoning that's used in this meal as well. He explained it better than I did. He's the expert. I am not. But one thing I know how to do, and that's eat. And I'll tell you, that's what made me a cook. So we'll take this wine. We'll pour a glass for my friend or for your friend, or a glass for yourself. And we'll enjoy it. Let's go ahead and enjoy a wonderful chicken marsala meal prepared with grilled zucchini and summer squash, couscous, and candlelight. Once again, I've enjoyed this time with you. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Next time, we'll be preparing something different, and I hope you enjoy it. This meal prepared here from Studio G at Community Media Network. Once again, give us a call if you have any comments, suggestions, compliments, or criticisms. I'm Jay Wenko for the crew here in the studio. Good night.